Okay, let's see. Let's see if somebody joins in to look at extending tiled with JavaScript. That's what we're gonna try to do. So yesterday I added some scripting functionality to allow a tool like this one to actually show a preview of what it will change, and then to also apply that preview and to do undo in one step. And it was now it's kind of working. So let's see if we can use this to make possibly an interesting tile editing tool. Yeah, let's have a look. So one thing somebody asked about is the is a rectangle tool where you would select a piece of some tiles here, like 3 by 3, and then when you paint it, it would stretch repeat the center and the sides, and the corners it would not. So it would be easy to place a rectangle. And well, I think I could just start implementing, trying to implement that functionality, and see who joins, maybe with some other ideas later on. Still have to learn Twitch a bit. Okay, so it displays there are 2 people watching, but one of them might be myself. I'm never so sure here. Ablu comes online. Hello Ablu. Good morning. So I'm gonna stream some JavaScript coding right now to see if I can make a custom tool that enables drawing of rectangles. And actually it was Mr. Hyde on IRC who on Discord who asked about this, and I'm not sure if he's now available. Let's just ask. No, he's at the moment offline, so well, he can see it later, what I will try to implement here. Probably should use another tile set that actually has a kind of a rectangle. Tile sets. Okay, I'm not sure. Probably they are somewhere else. No. Where were they? We have somehow auto-created those tiles. No, I'm not sure where they are. Brush generator. No. Yeah, here. So we have in this folder, for example, the grass tile set, which has this piece, which you might want to place as a rectangle, right? So here we have grass now. Oops. This piece. So if I will paint it, I'm getting this, and it's not what I want. So that's what we try to change. Oops. Right, so if we implement the tool, we have to register it. I will save this as a new file. This will become a tile rectangle tool. Call it paint tile rectangle. And that name, eventually we might just want to set an icon, so we don't have a huge name in the toolbar. But it will need to look at the current tile stamp and see how to render it. So I mean, it will have to have a start position and an end position, and draw this rectangle and stretch it out over that section. So let's see how we can do it. First of all, if we get the mouse press event, this is where we have to store our start X and start Y. And maybe actually not that X and Y, we need the tile position. So let's see if I made a property for this already. Descriptive tool is an abstract tile tool. It has this tile position property here. So that's what I will read. I will say this dot start position is the tile position, because that one is going to change and we need to keep track of the one where we press down the mouse, right? Well, we could do this tile layer check before, just to, because it doesn't make sense to do this tool if we don't have a tile layer selected. Editing, we don't need this, because on release I'm just going to set start position to undefined. So when the start position is set, I know we are editing something. So I don't want to do this merge. Here we merge the preview to the map, but that's not what we want to do on mouse pressed. Actually, we should do that on the release. Yeah, let's see if, if there's something. We might want to have a cancel on right click or something. So when the tile position changes, that's where we're gonna make a preview. Yeah, so we need the current brush. That's what this does. Tiles, map editor, current brush, and it takes the first layer. And then we hope that this is a tile layer. Well, the brush actually has only tile layers. And then what it does here is making the preview map. It has a tile layer. This tile layer is part of the map because it will be added down here. You can also add it immediately. So, and then this is going to edit that layer. And apply that edit, and then set it to the preview. And we don't want to do this, so this is applying that preview as the mouse is moving, which we don't want to do. Yeah. Now we want to loop from start position to current position. So our current position is X and Y. So we let and how to call it. Yeah, normally I would just call it X and Y, but we have X and Y already. But we could say here current X, current Y. That we also need. Yeah. So now we can just let X go from the this start position dot X, and X should stay smaller or equal than the current X. And now, of course, we probably want this to work in both directions. So we need to take the minimum position, right, of this start position X and the current X. And to do the same for Y, current Y, and then we have the end as well, but we have to take the maximum. And then we go from the minimum to the maximum, so start X and X plus X, and we go over Y as well. that means we're going over the whole area that we want to fill with the brush, which is the brush is over here. So, and here we can check if our brush actually, let's first of all check our tile position, start position. If it's undefined, we return, because nothing to do. Then we get the brush, and if we don't have a brush or the brush width, so we need to have a brush, I think of at least 3, if it's smaller than 3, or a brush that height smaller than 3. Yeah, it doesn't work, right? Because of the way we want to repeat the center thing and have the corners. So now we know at least that we will abort in this case. So then over here, if the y is the start y, so we're at the top, right? Then, well, we can make a big if here, but we need to create the coordinates of the tile we want to take from the brush. So brush x, brush y, and we can initialize it on 0 maybe. Not sure if this is correct JavaScript syntax, I'll just do it like this. Now we don't need to do anything if it's start y. So this is actually the top left corner, but if it's end y, we want the brush x to be the brush width -1, right? And if the x is the end x, yeah, that's correct, yes. So y is the height and x is the width. Well, now we have covered the other corners, right? But we still need to cover, I mean, let's do this like this, that we have all the cases. So y start y, then it's 0. And also, if it's not start or end, we're somewhere in between. For now we will put it on 1, but actually we could support multiple, right? Multiple tiles here. So same for x. If the x is the start x, brush x 0. Put also here. And now we make brush x to be 1. So then we need the tile of the brush. The tile add brush x, brush y. And this tile is what we apply when we edit. So we do this. We edit, and this edit is actually going to be applied to our tile layer. So we just have x and y here, and the brush tile add, we just did this, so that's tile. And in the end we apply that edit. That should be it, right? So of course I must have missed something somewhere, but we can test if this will work to draw our rectangle. I have to change an existing script actually to make it reload. It should just reload. So now our tool appeared here. It watches script files for changes, so I added actually an existing script file, and that reloaded everything, and then reloads the new one as well. Yeah, and of course it's not working. So we have to go and see what's happening, what's debugging. So let's hope that debugging is actually gonna work. What we have here is actually, we have this brush, and if we then use this tool, it works. If we click this tool, yeah, we see actually only that first tile. I see only the top corner. And on release, it places the top corner. So let's see how that could have happened. So first of all, we can actually log something. Start x, start y, and x, and y, and then we can just make sure that these values are sane. Oh yeah, we can't log multiple values like this. We just would have to append them. So like this. And if we do that here, smaller coordinates always easier to debug. So yeah, so that's definitely a problem there. The first two should be small, the last big, so something is wrong. Is the start position is set when the mouse is pressed? Okay, maybe we should actually even log the other values, right? So what is this start position at x and the current x? Let's see if that makes sense. So if somebody is watching and seeing what's the problem, so see, I would expect x to, not both of them to go up, right? Ah, yeah. So this is a problem with JavaScript, which, or maybe not JavaScript, but the start position object actually is a reference to this property. So what was happening here is that we didn't copy those values, and we're looking at updated values because this property is changing. So I will just say start x is start position x, right? Because this way we make a copy of those values. And here we set them back to undefined. Right, so we have no longer start position. Let's just check one of them. This is now start x. So, and now it should actually work better. Let's see. Did I shut it down? It crashed, right? So something went wrong. Let's run this thing in the debugger, so next time it crashes I would have an idea of what happened. Alright. starting in the debugger takes always a bit longer. Eventually we'll be there. Alright, so let's have it crash soon, then we might know what's the problem. But we still have grass, yes. Grass, this section here. Paint. And look. So it can't do anything useful actually if it's too small. That's the minimum size. You might want to make sure that we're always, I'm not sure. Do we just allow this, or will we force it to be always at least this size? And then we have a breakpoint actually here. Paint tile layer. Don't need it anymore. Yeah, so so I'm missing a bit the direct feedback, and also maybe the feedback while not pressing on the mouse. I think it would be nice to draw a small preview already, just so the user is aware of what he has selected. And then should the preview be like this or like this? And probably maybe should be centered on the mouse. Yeah, it's just actually I'm not sure how to do the centering yet. Yeah, what's happening? Oh, that preview is also staying there. So now I'm not painting, and it still shows the preview because I didn't set something else as a preview. So the tool would have to do this if you assign a preview here, to also clear that preview if there's nothing to preview, right? Okay. On the mouse released, it should probably clear the preview. And let's try to do that by just assigning a new tile map object to it, right? Then yeah, now we have no preview. Yeah, I'm sure some people would really like a tool like this. I could even ship it with tiled, I guess, and it could have some additional functionality. So what if you select only 2x2? You just, this tool at the moment refuses to work, but you might still want to use this. It could just, it could have a fence that repeats like this or like that. It could be useful. So what I will do, yeah, at the moment I can just reduce the checks. Oh, like what happened now here. Debug. Okay, so for some reason there is still a tile set alive when the tile set manager gets destroyed. That shouldn't be. All these managers, they don't have tile set references, so we have to find out at some point which tile set is still alive, because the tile set manager is supposed to go once all the tile sets have been deleted, so because it stores all the current loaded tile sets. Yeah, well, that's something for another time. If I just relax this check here, that it should be at least 1, see how that behaves. So now you can get only the corners. Yeah, because the other tile doesn't exist, right? And if you have this, oops, yeah, then you get a rectangle like that. So now you can draw this as well, right? And that looks fine, but this doesn't look fine. But it doesn't know which case it's handling, so another thing actually that would be nice to do is to annotate this tile set so this thing is selected as one piece. Could be a rug or something. Yeah, but I think I'll keep the functionality like this. So okay, just want to add a preview. We have a rectangle painting tool, right? So if I add this to tiles built in, I would probably go for this rectangle tool and change that behavior. Maybe with an option, because you might also want to repeat the brush, right? Rarely useful feature, but or the circle. And it's just a quick filling tool, essentially. Let's remove this debug stuff here. So what I want to add is a preview for when you don't have the mouse pressed, right? So instead of doing nothing when we don't have a start position, we could say if it's undefined, yeah, then we pretend that it's the current position -1, for example, right? Now how do we call this variable? This is I can just probably write it like this. Let's see if JavaScript does that. So now we have a lot of these. Right. See, now we have this small preview there. Except once we start painting, it will change. Abru, that's a nice idea. If you would have a 2x2 like this, you probably don't want to fill center. This for 2 by 2, I don't think we have any edges. Yeah, so you see, I don't think this will work. Basically, if we have this, we need to have let's create that brush. I mean, I can make a section here. And now I can use this brush. Ah, that's another problem. Or not. I mean, maybe it should now erase the tiles in the middle. I'm not sure. It doesn't, because there's just no tile there. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I think you just have to make it explicit, because you don't need the edges. And fences, yeah, they can also work. But they don't do anything useful in the center, that's true. So another thing I considered is, if there is no center, maybe we don't stretch in that direction, so you can only draw for horizontal or vertical. If you have 3 by 3 like this, that now you could not go this direction, right? That's a bit weird behavior, right? So maybe it should just go horizontally and vertically. I'm not sure what it should do. Yeah, this is a bit weird. So let's see if we could do like this. If the brush.width is more than 2, then start. Current x equals just start x. So to basically prevent useless something from happening, and there we go again. Loaded in debugger. I think something is going wrong when reloading scripts. So let's stay in the debugger. It will take a bit longer to launch for now. So one thing that seems to be definitely the case is that this is a very not ideal time to stream. People in Europe are working and people in America are sleeping. Alright, let's select our grass again. Select 3 by 3 and then paint with it. Yeah, so now we just don't do anything weird, right? If you select 2 by 2, we we stretch that part. Yeah, so I think that's working fine. Not sure what's up with that thing sometimes simply disappearing right here. Oops. It's just not working right sometimes. And that is a flaky issue that's very annoying to look into. Yeah. Okay, so these checks, I think that makes sense. I relaxed it here, and then here I made a rule. Don't stretch when there, yeah, when the brush is too small. And that makes it easier to draw a fence, for example, instead of repeating that fence a second time. Now what else I wanted to do? Ah yeah, improve that preview a little bit. So I did this, or -1. Yeah, essentially I just want to have yeah, start x if I don't have a start position, I want to try rendering a better preview. So current x -1 and current x +1, for example. So I just use let, right, because that makes it easier to change this later. So by default it is maybe like this. Let's see. Start and end, and then if we have a start position, then we assign the new values based on that. And then we don't need to do this here. Okay. Now let's see, we are selecting this, paint rectangle, and now we have a preview that is like, oh, we can also just place it. Yeah, it's fine, I think. But we can also click and drag to make a different one, and this is again very weird how it left this part out. There's some weirdness going on there, because normally it shouldn't do that. See, sometimes it suddenly drops part of the area. Yeah. Oh yeah. So now what I still want to do is support also, for example, larger areas. Yeah, so what you see here, if you select the whole tile set, it gets a bit weird. Oh wait, yeah, the preview definitely gets weird. So now, but it's still repeating that one tile, and I would like it to repeat multiple tiles in the middle, potentially. So that is this one case. What we want here is to do a modulo, right? So we have brush height -1, right? This is the -2 because we don't want the top and the bottom, and we want to calculate start. Yeah, y x. So this is y. So y minus the start y modulo brush height -2, and of course brush height might not be at least 2, right? So I'm not sure what JavaScript will do in that case. But I want to do +1 because I don't want to have the first one. So the idea is we have this repeating thing, right? Yeah. Let's see if that now works. See, it will. Yeah, it does not seem to. I think I'm off by 1 somewhere. The last row is good, but oh no, seems to be fine. No, I'm missing the first one. So I think my +1 is wrong. But it shouldn't be. Right, there would have to be this y. I'm subtracting start y, so I'm getting 1. I would have to add a -1 here, because in the first tile I don't want to count it. I think that's it then. Yeah, this is because the first row is covered, and from that point on I want to start using that brush. And I didn't see any errors from the modulo, but I didn't have a small brush either, so this looks better. Now at this size I'm painting the tile set as it is, and here it is repeating that, the whole middle section. Yeah, I think it's a better behavior. But what now? So actually when we select only one tile, we're not painting a rectangle anymore because we're refusing to repeat it. So I think it should definitely repeat it in that case. So let's change that check. If the width yeah, basically you want to see if JavaScript does this. No, I only want that, and if the height is So let's see, I want to lock this x direction if we don't have enough width, and we do have enough height. Well, we can just try it as well. If it's small in both directions, I don't want this to limit the repeating of the brush. If it's smaller than 2, it must be 1, right? So it might be less confusing to do a check like this. Yeah. So now, and now we're messing up the middle tile choosing. Oh yeah, this is also going wrong now. No, it's not really wrong. Just have a rather small thing selected. Oh, why is my preview not working? I think I broke something. Yeah. I mean, we need to start X and Y for that, so. Or yeah, it's nasty. So we can set up some booleans for this, right? Some stretch x equals this. But that doesn't help. So now I just added that check there, because it gets a little bit more complicated. The idea is that I also want my preview to take into account whether it can stretch or not. So this +1, -1. Yeah. And let's just add an else here. So we do when we don't have it. I mean, now if stretch x, then we're gonna do that +1, -1, right? Start x and end x. start Y, end Y. By default I should put them all on the mouse position. And this I put here. If current text is start X, basically, yeah, I mean, maybe the code can be written in many ways, but important is the behavior. That this works somehow. Yeah. Oops. So I think we have it the wrong way around. Yeah, clearly we put that, I put that the wrong way around, so yeah, those conditions. The height is just 1, we can only stretch X, right? Basically I had don't stretch booleans before, so I should brush, I should stretch X if the width is bigger than 1, right? And if it's not bigger than 1, or brush height is 1. Well, I'm not sure if that changed anything. Yeah. So vertical makes vertical preview, right? But the drawing here is broken, because this makes no sense. I have to, of course, change those conditions around as well. This is not nice code. I mean, it should be now, if not stretch Y, right? Not stretch X. Then we're gonna avoid stretching in that direction. Yeah. Oh yeah, every time I select something here, it's gonna switch back to the stamp tool, because it doesn't know that the paint rectangle tool will also handle my stamp, right? So I keep having to select that tool again, which is something I should do something about. Just not sure what yet. It was convenient that if you select this, that you immediately can use that stamp, and it would, if you use another tool that uses the stamp, it would also avoid switching away, because it says, well, the fill tool used the stamp, but if you were on the eraser and you select something, it was nice that it switches to the stamp tool or the terrain tool, and it switches away from it, and to the terrain if you select the terrain. But what about this tool? So it doesn't know if it uses the stamp or not. Maybe it should just leave it selected, just because it doesn't know. So one last thing we want to probably improve is this case, where you are having only a single brush selected, stretching it in both directions, but ending up with this behavior, because it doesn't take the right coordinate for the center tile. So I think we just wanted to fill in that case, which means we could just make sure that we are at least gonna end up within the brush, right? So well, it becomes a little bit of a complicated expression, but now we have this. Which is nicer behavior, and we still have this working. And this, I mean, I could imagine some art using that feature, that you can wrap the center. Alright. So, well, this is how you can script the tool. It's very easy to iterate on the code, to make a preview of what you're gonna change. This apply call makes that edit apply to the tile layer of the preview, right? It was created here. And then we assign the preview here, and when you release the mouse we merge that preview with the map. Actually, I think would be nice to also support previewing of objects, and it could actually be done in the way that the preview map could also contain object layers, but at the moment it can't. And then the merge would just actually place those objects. So, but for now this only works with tiles. For objects, I don't have a way yet to control the preview object. But that might be a nice way to do it. So at the moment I don't know, there is nobody else with an idea of what to script. This is a scripted tile editing tool. Oh yeah, and the script lives in this tiled extensions example extension. You can open the script folder by going to the preferences. In the plugins tab there's extensions where you can see the path. You can't change it here, but you can open that folder in the file manager. There you can create a folder for your own extensions, and in there you put script files that will be loaded on startup, and it can also contain images which you can use to set an icon on your tool. For example, this tool to paint rectangles, which works only on object layers. Actually it paints circles now. Has set an icon, so you can do that by just setting the file name of the icon here, and this tool is placing objects without preview, but you just make a new map object, ellipse in this case, gives it a name that counts up, and sets the size of the object, and adds the object to the object layer, and then also marks it as selected. So when you draw objects, they're all selected. You can deselect. New objects that you select that you draw are part of the selection, which you could then move around. Yeah, that's the number counting up every time you draw a new set of objects. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I think I'll stop here. I'll make another stream when I have another thing that would be nice to implement. I'm going to maybe work towards this previewing of objects. Would be one idea. On the other hand, I want to do the most important bits to work towards a beta release for Tiled 1.3, and I have to assess what is still the list of things that needs to get done. So that's what I got to. The next stream should be in the afternoon, and I will make sure to have, I hope there will be a new idea of extending tiles. And one thing I want to still add to the script API is a way to control the map view, to focus it on an object. And then I have some idea of what we could do with the script. All right. See you in the next stream. And Valendur, you're welcome. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope also people who watch it later will be eager to script their own tools to extend the functionality of tiles to their needs. Alright, bye bye.